In today's video, we're going to be using Adobe Photoshop to create this promotional poster for a DJ. As you can see, there are quite a few different techniques going on to get this final effect, but it does look pretty cool and they're not too hard. They're all the different effects that you can see in this poster. So let's get to it in Photoshop. And we'll begin today by making ourselves a new document. When the dialog box appears, we're just going to type in a few dimensions over here. We want to work in millimeters, so change it to millimeters first. The width we want our page to be is 210 millimeters, and the height we want to set that to 297. And that's going to make an A4 document. Okay, make sure you're in portrait orientation as well. The resolution today is going to be set to 300 pixels per inch, which means our poster is going to be in high quality, ready for print. And the color mode, I want you to select CMYK. Everything else should be fine, so just click on Create. When you click Create, you'll get this A4 canvas that appears on your page, ready for us now to start making our poster. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to select a purple color over here for your foreground color. So just click on this top little square and go and pick yourself a, well, it's not too dark but not too light purple, something like that one there. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Once you've got that purple selected, click OK. Now the next thing you want to do is color in this background, that purple color. Okay, so over in your toolbox, you'll probably see your gradient tool here. Okay, but if you hold your mouse down on that, you can select your paint bucket tool, or you can press the letter G twice and it should appear. And with your paint bucket tool, simply go and click on your canvas, and that's going to color it in that nice purple color that you selected just before. Now for the next step, we want to put a bit of a cloudy texture in the background. Okay, so we're going to have this light purpley color as the clouds, and then the background, so the sky, you want to choose either black or a really dark purple. Okay, I'm going to choose a really dark purple that almost looks black, and I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go over to my layers panel over here. I might even pull my layers panel out onto my document here because we're going to use it quite a bit today. It's always handy to see how it works. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer in first of all. So to do that, you just click the little piece of paper with the folded corner next to the trash can there, and that adds in a new layer. Double click on the word layer 1 and that will let you rename it. And I just want you to write in clouds. Alright, so we can now put on the clouds effect by simply going up to the filter menu, selecting render, and then clouds. And you'll see you get this pretty cool looking cloud effect in the background of your poster, but it is a little bit overpowering, so I really want to tone that cloud effect down. So the way we do that is just drop the opacity over here of the clouds layer. You want to drop it at least 50%, you might even want to go a bit lower, just depends on your taste. About 35 might look pretty good for me, so you can just see a subtle cloud effect in the background there. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is we're going to be drawing a rectangle down the bottom here. Okay, and you're going to see how that comes in handy a little bit later on. So just draw it for now. I'll show you what it's going to look like. So over the side here in your toolbox, grab your rectangle tool, and for the fill color, I want you to select this black and white option just here. Okay, and now before you draw it, I want you to switch these little padlocks around. So the white one goes on the left and the black one goes on the right hand side. So we've got white going through to black. Okay, once you've got that, I want you to draw probably in the, I'll say, bottom quarter of your page a rectangle. You can go outside the lines a little bit and it's going to look like that. So black at the top and it fades down into white. That's a gradient where two colors or two or more colors fade into one another. So in this case we've got black and white. With that still selected, you'll see we've got this rectangle layer up here. Okay, you might just want to double click on rectangle 1 there and just call it, we'll call it base rectangle. So it goes at the bottom of our page. And with the base rectangle selected still, I want you to change the blending option, or the blending mode, sorry. At the moment the blend mode is normal. Just hit the drop down box and I want you to select overlay. Okay, that's going to help blend it into our background a little more. I also want you to change its opacity. Okay, so how transparent it is. At the moment it's 100% opacity. try about 40%, and then just click off it and see how it looks. You should just have a subtle line running through there. Okay, that's looking pretty good actually, so I might just leave it as is. Okay, so 40% opacity was the last thing we did to that. Alright, so the next step we're going to do now, if I just go back to the finished copy, is we're going to draw this like little DJ booth, I guess it could be called, right here. Okay, so the way we do that, back over in Photoshop, we're going to grab our rectangle tool, and we're going to choose another dark purple color. Okay, so I want you to just pick something a bit darker. Click OK once you've got it selected, and I want you to draw a rectangle on the page, or even a square maybe, that looks something like that. And of course I forgot to change my fill up the top, so just go up to the fill if you forgot to do this and select the first option. And that's that dark purple color that we just chose. Alright, and the next thing we're going to do with this little DJ booth is we're going to apply a circular pattern over the top of it. Okay, we're going to create that circular pattern ourselves. So the way we do that is we just go to File and New real quickly, and we make a document that's in pixels, and it's going to be 10 by 10, so 10 width, 10 height. That means it's going to be a tiny little document when you click on Create. As you can see, a tiny little 10 by 10 pixel square appears in the middle of your page. Press Ctrl plus a number of times just to zoom in there so you can see your 10 by 10 canvas. And what we need to draw is a little white circle. Okay, so I'm going to grab my ellipse tool over here. Okay, so holding your mouse down on the rectangle tool, grab your ellipse tool. Ensure that your fill color at the top here, we need to change it back to a solid color. So let's just choose white. Click OK. Alright, you can see that we've got white selected now. And what we're going to do is we're going to click in the corner and drag out a circle that is 4 by 4 pixels. Okay, you can just see a little black box that appears that tells you that it's a 4 by 4 circle. And it's going to look something like that, and it should have a white fill on it. Right, so once you've got that done, what we need to do is just grab our move tool at the top here, and I want you to hide your background layer. So just hit that little eye symbol there, the visibility symbol, to hide your background layer. Now our canvas looks a little bit messy, but just stick with it, it's going to work. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to the edit menu now, and we're going to define a pattern. Okay, the name of the pattern, just call it circle pattern or circle or something like that, and click on OK. Now we're going to return to our original document back over here, and what we're going to be doing is applying that little circle pattern now to this shape. So over in your layer panel, got rectangle 1 here. Probably want to rename that. We'll call it side rectangle. And once you've renamed it, double click in this empty space over here, and that's going to bring up the layer styles. What we're going to choose is a pattern overlay, and we're going to choose the very last pattern in our list of patterns there. Okay, that's this dotted pattern that we just came up with. Now the blend mode, okay, you need to make sure it's on color dodge. The opacity, you need to make sure it's on 50%. Okay, mine are all set to the right stuff because I did this a bit earlier on, but yours will probably be different. So make sure you get the blend mode as color dodge, the opacity is 50%, and the scale, somewhere between 300 and 400 looks good for mine. Okay, but you should have something looking similar to this. Alright, so once you've got that, you can click on OK, and you've got the start of the DJ booth all drawn. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create, we're not going to create anything new, we're going to turn this into a rasterized object. So I'm going to rasterize that layer, which means we can start to edit it and deform it. So where we've got side rectangle written over here, just right click on that layer, and you'll have an option to rasterize the layer. So just press that. Now that you've rasterized the layer, as I said before, we can go ahead and start distorting it and editing it. So go to the edit menu and head down to transform and choose the distort option. And what I want you to do is grab the top left hand corner and just bring it down a little bit. Grab the bottom left hand corner, bring it up a bit, and you can just deform this a little bit until it looks something Oh, I guess something like that will look pretty good. Okay, you can readjust this a bit later on if you don't like how it looks when we get our little DJ booth going. It should look something like that. Press the tick at the top of the page once you've got that drawn. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate that shape. So the way we do that is we simply go over to our layer panel here and right click on that side rectangle and choose duplicate layer. Okay, it'll ask you what name you want to call it. We'll just leave it as it is, side rectangle copy, and we'll click on OK. Then we're going to go up to the edit menu, choose transform, and just flip that shape horizontally. Okay, and you can now move it around. You can see it's just the opposite of the one that's already there. And you basically want to join them together like so. So you've got a shape looking like that. Okay, next thing we need to do is add a bit of depth by changing the color of the right hand side. Okay, we're just going to change its brightness. The way we change its brightness is we go to the adjustments panel over on the right here. Select the first little option with the sun, that's the brightness and contrast. And I want you to press this square with the little arrow pointing down next to it, which means we're just going to affect the layer below it. This just so happens to be this rectangle over here. I'll just move my layers over there for a moment. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn the brightness down. As you turn it down, you'll see this side getting darker. So it's up to you to work out a good level of brightness so that it adds a bit of depth to our shape. I'm going to go to about -30 mark, or maybe -35. Yeah, -35 looks pretty good, so I'm going to stick with that. Alright, so far it's so good. I might give it a bit of a resize though. So in my layers box here, I'm just going to select both of those two layers. I'm just going to make it a bit taller. So it's going to look something like that. Maybe even just move it towards the center a little bit. Okay, so that's looking a lot better now. Might even put it right in the center. Press the tick at the top once you've got it looking something like that. Alright, next step is to add a bit of text. Okay, this can get a little bit confusing, but we'll see how we go. Grabbing the text tool from our toolbar, I'm going to change the color up the top first to white. Click OK. I've got the font Arial and the style is black and size 48 at the moment, but we can change that a little bit later. So we'll type the name of the artist first in capital letters, Alison Wonderland. Oops. Alright, and you can press the tick once you've got that written. And I just want you to move that using the move tool just down towards the right hand side for a moment. Okay, we'll shrink that up and make it look a bit better in a sec. The other thing I need you to write is grabbing your text tool again, and click up on the top of the page here, and we'll just write capital letters, Royal Hotel. Do it over 2 lines. Okay, and that's going to go on this side of the DJ booth just here. Alright, so now what we need to do is, I'm just going to bring this layers box back over here. So we need to select both of those layers of text there. We'll just do them one by one. You can right click on them and just rasterize the type. Same again for Alice in Wonderland, right click and rasterize type. And that's going to allow us to edit them. Okay, so we're going to go up to the edit menu now with Alice in Wonderland still selected. Go to transform and choose distort. Now I want you to get it to match the shape of the DJ booth. So towards the center it's going to be a bit bigger. And towards the back over here, so it's going to get a bit skinnier. Now it looks a little bit pixelated, I guess you would say at the moment, but when you press the tick at the top to finish it off, probably finish it there, it becomes crisp again. Okay, so now it's kind of giving it a bit more depth. We're going to do the same for the Royal Hotel. Okay, just go up to Edit, Transform, and Distort it. Okay, so the right hand's, whoops, I'm on the wrong one. Need to be selected on Royal Hotel. My mistake, so quickly go up to Edit, Transform, and we'll distort it. Okay, so try and match the shape itself, so that little DJ booth itself. Try and get it looking pretty good. Similar size to the font on the right would be nice as well. Yeah, that looks alright, so I'll press the tick, and we've now got it written in the Royal Hotel and Alice in Wonderland. Alright, so far looking good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a bit of a pattern across the top of this text. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to hide both the text layers for a moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the Edit menu and we're going to choose Define Pattern. Okay, we're going to call it Text Dots. Oh, I spelled that all wrong. Text Dots. And we'll click on OK. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that both of our fonts here, we might start with the Royal Hotel. Okay, we'll just bring it back with its visibility, and we're going to change its fill all the way down to 0%. Okay, so it's not filled in at all. Okay, then we're going to just double click next to it here. Okay, and the layer style panel will come up, and I want you to choose a pattern overlay. Okay, instead of color dodge, what we're going to choose now is linear dodge. Linear burn. Linear dodge, there it is there. Okay, with linear dodge selected, we'll turn the opacity up to 100%. You can see what's happening down here already. The pattern you want is the very last one with the purple in it. Okay, and scale, it's up to you, I guess. You can have a bit of a play around, see what's going on, but I think where we had it was pretty good. Let's go 200, I think that'll look good. And that's it, so we'll click on OK. Okay, so that's got the Royal Hotel looking good. Let's do the same now for Alice in Wonderland. So bring its visibility back by hitting where that little eye should be. Clicking on the Alice in Wonderland layer. I want you to turn the fill completely off. Alright, then we're going to go up to Edit. Define Pattern. Actually, we won't even do that. We've already defined the pattern. We'll just double click next to Alice in Wonderland. And choose a pattern overlay, and there's all the same settings as before. So it's a linear dodge, opacity is 100, the pattern is that last little purple one. Now the scale, we want to get rid of this darker color across Wonderland, so you might just have to bump that scale up a bit, probably to 300, looks good, and click OK. Right, so we've now got the text on the DJ booth looking pretty good. What we might do is just blur a bit of it to give it a kind of edgy effect, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this Royal Hotel text over here. Okay, and that'll highlight the layer over here as well. I want you to right click on it and just duplicate that layer. And it's going to ask for a name, just leave it as it is, Royal Hotel copy. That'll be fine. Alright, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to choose not the top Royal Hotel, but we're going to choose the bottom one. Okay, and we're going to go up to Filter. And we're going to come down to the blur option and simply select motion blur. Okay, now for the motion blur distance, it's just a matter of you seeing what works and what doesn't. You want to give it a bit of a nudge around so you get this kind of edgy effect. I'll take it up to 200 and have a look. Yeah, probably a little bit too far. I might roll with what's on 200 though. Okay, so for the distance, 200 pixels. Click OK. You see you get a kind of edgy effect where the text sort of looks like it's moving. Now we're going to do something similar for the Alice in Wonderland bit too, so just right click on the Alice in Wonderland layer and we're going to duplicate that layer. Just click OK. Again, select the bottom layer, go up to Filter and just select Motion Blur. It should automatically be in there and it will apply the same effect we put on this one. Okay, so now both sides of our DJ booth have that blur effect applied to it. And next thing I want to do is create a bit of a reflection of this DJ booth down here. Okay, this is a bit like a floor, this rectangle, and we're going to have a reflection down below. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to select the Royal Hotel fonts over here. And we also want to select that side of the rectangle, the left side of the rectangle. So we've got three different things in our layers panel selected. And you can just right click on any of them and choose merge layers. Okay, that merges this side into one big layer. I want you to do the same for this right hand side. So highlight the Alice in Wonderland text, even the brightness and contrast, and the side rectangle copy there. right click on them and merge those layers. Okay, so it flattens them down, joins them together, and now we can work with these shapes to create a reflection. So let's start with this Alice in Wonderland side by simply duplicating that layer. So right click on it in the layer panel, select duplicate layer, and we might call it reflection right. Click OK. Then we're going to go up to our edit menu, transform it, and we're going to flip it vertically. Okay, and then we're just going to bring that down, straight down. I'm holding shift and using my arrow keys to bring that down. Basically want to get it where the W is not getting cut off, so about there. Okay, and to get it looking more like a reflection, you're going to have to drop the opacity to, let's try 30%. Yeah, that's pretty good. And we're going to have to go to the edit menu, select transform, and then skew it. And what we're going to do is just grab this top right hand corner and bring it up. Okay, you may need to just move it around a bit, move it down, nudge it in, do what you need to make it look realistic, like it's a little reflection. Okay, so I might need to nudge it that way, go a bit higher. That's not bad. Okay, it's going to be covered with text anyway, but if you can get something looking like that, that's good. Now we're going to do the same for this left hand side. Okay, so it says the Royal Hotel here. Just right click and duplicate that layer. We'll call it reflection left. Press OK. And we're going to go to the edit, transform, and flip horizontal. Flip vertical. Holding shift, pressing the down arrow, we're going to move that straight down. Okay, about there's a good spot. We're going to change the opacity there to 30%. Press enter, and then go up to edit, transform, and we're going to skew it. There it is. Choose skew, mainly do that top left edge. Okay, you may need to shove it over to the left a little bit there just to get it looking good. Hopefully you get the idea. Just press the tick at the top when you're done. And I know it's a bit dodgy, but you've got a bit of a reflection down the bottom there now. Okay, it's up to you if you'd like to change that and make it look a bit more realistic. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so down the bottom we just want to add in a little bit of text, and then I might stop this video and come back and finish the second part in a moment. So the text we want to put down here, stick with Arial Black. If you have a look over here, we've got Saturday 18th of August and tickets $25. Alright, so the colour, not quite white. We'll just go one of these light purple colours and make it really light. Okay, what date was it again? It was Saturday the 18th of August. Saturday 18th August. Okay, might even change that colour so it's a little bit darker. Click OK. Using the move tool, just position that somewhere near the centre. I know a little bit's getting cut off, so you may need to just resize it. Squish it in a bit. Get it in the centre down the bottom. Now one other effect you can put on this to make it look a bit more realistic, up here in your layer panel, just double click next to the name of it. And that should bring up your layer styles. Oops, I've got to hit the tick first. Then I'll do that. And in the layer styles, what we're simply going to do is look for a drop shadow down the bottom. I'm going to put a little shadow behind our text. So I might make it 20 for the distance. The opacity's dropped. Yeah, click OK. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so after that, we just need to put in some text that has the ticket price. So open the text tool again, maybe choosing a slightly darker colour. Alright, let's have a look. Tickets $25. Looks like it's in capitals too. Tickets $25. Okay, this one's a little bit smaller than the other one, so let's highlight it, hold shift and just drag it down so it's a little bit smaller. If you want to change the color of these, you can, but I think I'm pretty happy with how that's looking now. Alright, so I'm going to save that video there and come back in the second video, and we'll just finish it off by putting in the DJ up here and a few paint splatters around the outside of her. Okay, so I'll see you in that second video shortly.